Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. One way to find out who is your friend and who's your enemy is to play weak. When you play weak, people little by little would get courageous, muster courage, and you're gonna see them acting. Now, I don't know if this is what the Americans are doing or they are weak. I don't know exactly what's going on, but it seems like the Americans dropped the ball in the Middle East. That is, it's either an order somewhere among these guys here, but it seems like they allow the countries in the Middle East to form kind of like friendships, alliances, things like this. And I mentioned Iran, Syria, Saudi Arabia. I mentioned Turkey, if you want, I can get that. United Arab Emirates. All these guys, I don't know if I mentioned Iraq. All these guys, somehow, Egypt. Well, I'm going down now. I'm going a little bit to in the African continent. But anyway, all these countries seem to come together. Even a door is open for Bashar Assad. Is that what it is? Yeah. So he's an opening for Syria, and they try to get Syria back accepted in the League of Arab Countries. And I don't know, even the Iranians and Saudis open embassies. That's after what, 8 years or something like this, after they, retreated, withdrew their embassies from each other country. Turkey is playing an important role. So all this under the nose of the United States of America, which was, I think, snubbed by Saudi Arabia with the oil, and not only by Mr. Mohammed bin Salman. So what's going on now? Probably you know that the United States of America has military presence in Syria. Syria is a free, independent, sovereign country, listed at the United Nations, in good standing, not called a terrorist state as far as I remember. But the United States has troops in their country without the country's leadership, legitimate leadership. What's his name? Assad. So if you remember, they have troops supposedly to fight ISIS, but in the meantime they suck dry the oil wells in the northeast of Syria and support the Kurdish resistance against, I'm guessing, Turks, but they say against ISIS. So what's going on here? We have a group of Arab countries demanding foreign troops to be withdrawn from Syria. When I say foreign troops, they don't mean Russian troops or Iranian troops. Why? Because the Russian troops were invited by the legitimate government. Wasn't it Bashar al-Assad? Isn't how you say it? Something like that. Anyway, Assad is good enough. So Russians are there. Their presence is legitimate. The rest, and I think the Brits have over there some military in Syria, and I think it was who were the ones who said they would retreat. I think even the Ukrainians have. I think they said they would bring from Syria, I don't know, like 80 people. That was about 7 or 8 months ago or something like that. Anyway, a lot of countries have over there military presence in Syria without the invitation of the legitimate government. So the fact that these countries, and I'm going to mention them, I'm going to list them, they call on the foreign troops to be taken out of Syria, it's a big, how should I put it, big show of courage. Let's see what this article has to say, which it comes from Russia Today. It is from May 1st, 2023. Arab states call for withdrawal of foreign forces from Syria. Now, you know, this article comes from Russia Today, so obviously they exempt themselves from being, obviously, the foreign forces. And for the reasons I already mentioned, Russia would not be probably part of those foreign forces. These guys want out. 4 key regional players have agreed that Damascus should regain control over the entire country. The government in Damascus should reestablish the rule of law on all of Syria's territory, ending the presence of foreign armed groups and terrorists. The foreign ministers of Syria, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Egypt and Iraq said on Monday after meeting in Amman. Iraq has about 2,800 American troops on its territory to make sure that the Iraqis love democracy, okay, continue to support democracy. They defend the democracy over there with guns, I guess. Jordan hosted the meeting, the first of its kind since Syria's membership in the Arab League was suspended in 2011. Now they want to get it back. Prior to the multilateral meeting, Syrian Foreign Minister Faisal Maqdad met with the Jordanian counterpart Ayman Safadi to discuss refugees, border security and water issues, according to Amman. In a joint statement distributed by state news agencies, the five ministers called for, and I'm quoting, ending the presence of terrorist organizations as well as, and I'm quoting, armed groups, end quote, on the territory of Syria and I'm quoting again, neutralizing their ability to threaten regional and international security, end quote. They also pledged to, and I'm quoting, support Syria and its institutions to establish control over all its territory and impose the rule of law. Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan and Iraq pledged to establish ties with the Syrian military and security institutions in order to, I'm quoting, address security challenges. The five ministers also called for stopping, and I'm quoting, foreign interference in Syrian domestic affairs, end quote. Their joint declaration also called for setting up technical teams of experts that will follow up on the summit and implement practical measures to resolve the conflict in Syria. The Amman meeting, now all of this did not really say, hey, we want the Americans out. But I think that's the intention, but they're not that courageous yet. So the Amman meeting comes just weeks after Maqdad visited Saudi Arabia and received the kingdom's endorsement for Syria's territorial integrity. Currently, Turkish-backed militants control parts of northern Syria, while the northeast is under the control of US-backed Kurdish militias. Several hundred US soldiers are also in Syria, controlling most of the country's oil wells. Militants backed by Saudi Arabia and the US launched an uprising against Syrian President Bashar Assad in 2011 with the help of Russia and Iran, who were both invited by Assad, who was the legitimate leader of the country and still is, I guess. The government in Damascus eventually prevailed over the coalition of rebels, including terrorists affiliated with Al-Qaeda and Islamic State. While Syria's neighbors and regional powers have moved to improve relations with Damascus in recent months, the US has not changed its, and I'm quoting, regime change policy. I can show you, or I can maybe, I'm going to show you what exactly the Americans will do about this. How would you call it? Demand, call for joint declaration. This is what the Americans. And if you bother them too much, they will show you one middle finger. And if you bother them a little bit too much, you guys are going to have big problems, big spontaneous uprising in your countries. So shut up. Now, I don't know, again, is United States, I don't know, drop the ball, is okay with this, wants to see who's who, what's what, and then grab them by the balls all together. I don't know. There's no movement here, to see if US will react. But I think that will be the first reaction and then the second one and so on. Well, at least these guys, without the Americans' supervision, are able to understand one another. It seems like they can negotiate and can create, relationships among them without the help of Washington, who's like a parent, self-ascribed or appointed parent, to deal with these children who are just, bellicose, fighters and all that. The only thing that over there is missing is Israel. I don't know what's going to happen with that country over there. I hope. The problem is Israel, they just launched, according to some news agencies, an attack on Aleppo airport, killing one person from military and personnel, and 7 others injured. Now, I don't know what's up with that. It's like, I don't know, China would just destroy an American airport. I don't know, let's say John Wayne in Los Angeles. I think it's still John Wayne. I don't know if it's still John Wayne. Maybe now is, I don't know, Feinstein or something. Or Pelosi, Nancy, new airport. Who the hell knows? Or who knows? Maybe that person who was in a Bud Light commercial. Maybe that person could be. You see, I avoided mentioning any pronouns or anything because I don't know by what kind of BS that person goes by. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.